So this is a little video of me working Imperador, bridleless. I've only done this a few times. So just gonna share what I'm doing with him here. Mounting. Okay, all my horses I really want to make sure are comfortable at the block. So they all park, they stand and wait for me quietly. This was well established with a bridle before doing it bridleless. So it was an easy transition. And for me, I really want a horse that I feel very comfortable and safe on before I go to bridleless. It's not something that I would just jump to. And I rode Impy for a number of times in a combination of the neck rope and the bridle before I went to full bridleless. Not a ton, maybe half a dozen times just to get him used to the neck rope. So just doing some basic circle work with him here. He wants to stretch down, which is quite nice, but sometimes he wants just to go a little bit, too low, and then he feels a bit out of balance. So initially I'm just kind of letting him relax and have that stretch. But then I do start to ask him to say, hey, can you carry your head in just a little bit more of a balanced position, that we're not too low. And you'll notice I sometimes switch my whip, so I often will use my whip a little bit in the beginning here on the outside shoulder, really to help the outside front leg swing around along the arc of the circle. And then sometimes I use it on the inside, more towards the inside hind leg to support the stepping under the bend. So I do play with moving my whip around. I usually only work with one whip. You can do bridleless with two whips and no neck rope, a neck rope and no whips, a neck rope and one whip. You can do it without anything at all. There's not a wrong or a right. It's just a matter of preference. And I tend to like most of my horses that I do this with a neck rope and a single whip. So here I've changed direction now to the right. It's quite interesting because you can see he's always been much more outwardly thinking in the work to the right. You don't really notice it anymore when I'm working him with a bridle on, but it's a little bit resurfaced as I've gone to playing with the bridleless. So you'll notice he kind of wants to look out. He's a little more focused on the door and what's going on. It's a bit harder for him to keep his attention this way, and that's no problem. I just will continue to work towards helping him find relaxation and focus in the work this way. I'm sure in time that will disappear as well. And so same thing, just trying to help him find a little bit of a balanced posture in the walk, and thinking about bending around my inside seat and leg, supporting a little bit the stepping under of the inside hind. He is actually a right bended horse, which it doesn't always look like this way because he wants to look out a little bit, because he's a bit more outwardly thinking, but the right hind is his pushing hind, so he needs a little bit more support to help him step under with his right hind. So I think I decided to take him into just a little bit of playing with the lateral work, and he knows all of this work with the bridle, shoulder in, haunches in, and half pass. But I'm just starting to play if I can have this communication, right? So we get a little bit too much angle there at times, but he's certainly willing to respond to my seat and leg aids and give me some nice haunches in. And then here I'm playing with a little bit of shoulder in, which I often find more difficult to get correct, especially in the bridleless. And then I reward just after a few steps. I don't think it's on this video. I did try the shoulder into the right, but I felt like he was a bit too outwardly thinking, so that's when I came to the left and just did one to the left. And we'll continue to work on developing that shoulder into the right. Oop, I think I'm going over for a filling up my reward pouch, or my so that's my little cookie jar in the corner. And I just use either plain Timothy pellets. These are actually a flavored Timothy pellet, but they don't have any sugar or anything in it. depends on the horse as to what reward I use, but you do notice that I give quite a few rewards, especially in this work as he's learning it. So I do use quite a bit of positive reinforcement in the training process. Then here playing in it with a bit with the haunches into the left, right? And so he easily gives me the haunches, but then it's also making sure I can maintain the bend through the body. So we're a little bit back and forth as we're trying to communicate. Yeah, but then some really nice steps there towards the end. People decided to zoom out on me for whatever reason. Apologize for it being a bit far away. And again, a little reward. And I often use a verbal click when I'm rewarding my horses, so just make that noise. And they know when they hear that they've done something correct and the reward will follow. I think it zooms back in on me here in a second. So this is my attempt at a half pass, and I was really pleased with this because he was, we're trying to figure out the communication. It is different when you don't have the reins to help shape a little bit the lateral flexion. Pivot can find me and keep on me, so it's not in and out. There you go. And then it's a little bit me helping him find balance and understand the aids. But then these last few steps I was really pleased with. Yeah, he really tried hard there, and we started to find a little more flow. So again, nice little reward. Let him take a moment. And I think I come back and do a haunches in and a half pass to the right. And I do tend to take, I can do little pieces of trot and canter on him. That's not a problem, but I really like to develop them with the correct bend and posture, and I've got to be able to do that on the walk first. So that's why for me, developing all the lateral exercises and the communication in the walk, yeah. And same thing, don't always have the bend 100%, but some nice steps. And for only having gone full bridleless a handful of times, I'm really pleased with how he's responding. Nice stretch there when I relax. And you always want that too, that after some nice lateral work, the horse wants to search forward down. Good sign that you've done something well. And then here, the half pass to the right, which is a little bit more difficult for us. And again, you can see there's a little bit the tendency to want to be a bit outwardly thinking, but then he starts to come here, focus on me better here and give me a little bit better bend. Yeah, and really some quite lovely steps for our first proper attempt at the half pass. And so with that, I hop off and ride. I hop off and reward and call it a good day and end of the ride. Short and sweet is often the ticket, right? Because the horse will really remember what you've done, and you come back the next day with a horse that's ready to continue with that learning process.